Hi everyone, Lavely here. I'm back to work on Wisp again. In case you forgot, she's my Teeny Tinker's teeny tiny Aria. Last week I showed you how I did her face up, and today I'm making her a wig. First things first, I need to make a wig cap. I protect the doll with plastic wrap, then pull some cotton over her head, securing it with a rubber band. I paint Mod Podge glue onto the material, making sure to fully soak the fibres. It's important the entirety of the cap is glued, right down to the back of her neck and behind the ears. This is the yarn I'm using. I got it from the warehouse here in New Zealand. It's 100% acrylic, 4mm thick, or whatever that means. I don't know much more about it honestly, but it sure is pretty. It's not as tightly woven as other yarns I've seen, which will make what I need to do with it a lot easier than otherwise. First, I need to prepare the yarn to make wefts. To do so, I start by doubling over a length of yarn, cutting it, and then looping it through the rings of an old journal. Next, I comb through the yarn to separate the fibres. It's normal to lose length and fibre in this process. I don't know the most about it, but it's my understanding that the individual fibres are only so long. In the yarn they're woven together, which binds and strengthens them, but for a brushed yarn wig that won't do. So this is why yarn wigs are limited to how long they can be. I don't know the length of the fibres in this yarn though, so this is somewhat of a test strand. Now I've seen how long this yarn is after being brushed, I know how long to loop and cut it. It's better to make it longer than I need so that the ends don't end up blunt. It's a lot quicker to brush out multiple strands at once. Once I finish brushing out a strand, I flip it back onto the book and repeat with another set. It's hard to know how much I'll need, but it's better to have more than I need than too little. Once I think I have enough, it's ready to start making the wefts. I've seen people use a hair straightener at this point, but unfortunately mine is kind of old and it doesn't have a way to limit the heat. I don't want to melt my hard work, so I'll settle for how it is now. To make the wefts, first I comb thoroughly through a segment. Then I cut it from where it's tied. I carefully pinch the fibres between my fingers, then transfer it to a sheet of baking paper where I paint the ends to it with the same glue I used on the cap. I repeat this process for the rest of the wefts and then wait for them to dry. Speaking of dry, a few hours have passed and now the wig cap is solid. I carefully remove it from Wisp's head and peel the glad wrap out from the inside. After making sure it's dry underneath too, I can cut the excess from the edges. With the cap a bit easier to wield now, I place it back on Wisp's head. She looks a little silly, but it's a snug fit. Next, I get a pencil to mark the centre and the outline of the cap. The centre line helps to make sure either side is symmetrical, plus it will help to form the part line later. Once I'm happy with the outer line, I cut along it. In hindsight, I cut it a little short in the back considering the style I went for. It looks a little more like a helmet than what I would have liked. But hey, this is only the second wig I've made, so I'm still learning. Before I start applying the wefts, I need to protect Wisp again with more plastic wrap. I'm going to be gluing the wefts directly onto the cap. Glue can be messy, plus I don't want the cap to slip off while I'm working. Now my wefts are dry, I can carefully pull them off of the baking paper. The glue's too bulky as it is now, so I trim it down so that there's just enough to hold everything together. And that makes one weft all ready to go. It didn't take long to do the same with the rest, and then it was time to attach them to the cap. I followed Mizekito's SPACE BUNS wig tutorial. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, by the way. I'll link it in the description below. To start off, I added some wispy strands around the hairline. I used a toothpick to roll over where the glue went to smooth things down and ensure there weren't any lumps. I picked the tidiest wefts to use for the part line. I glued the wefts the opposite way to which I wanted them to fall, so that I could fold them back onto themselves to make a neater part. Toothpicks came in handy here too, and meant I could keep my fingers glue free. I added wefts like this all around the outside of one side of the head. You can see that in some places I had to add small wefts to fill the odd gap. After this, I added another set of wefts, this time inside the ring I had just created, but facing the other way. This will form the bulk of the hair on this side and is what I'll pull together to make one of the space buns. Once everything was completely dry, I twisted and tied the bun and then repeated everything on the other side. Here's the finished wig. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm really happy with it. I ended up adding extra fibre to the inside of the cap to better blend the transition between wig and doll. This is what I meant before when I was saying that the cap was cut a little too short. And here it is on Wisp. I like it. I think she looks super sweet. I might try make her another one at some point, maybe a down-do with the same yarn. But for now, this is what she's going to be rocking. If you're still here, thanks for sticking with me. Thank you so much for watching, it has been lovely, and I'll catch you again sometime soon.